Syrian army carries out operations on a large scale against Nusra terrorists and their lines of supplies from the Turkish side north of Syria. Russia and China reiterate the call for non-intervention in states' internal affairs. And the Saudi-led aggression on Yemen claims the lives of more citizens and greatly destroys their infrastructure. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian Arab Television in Damascus. As the Syrian Arab Army continues its crackdown on terrorists in several governorates, several armed men from a Nusra terrorist organization have been reportedly killed in the city of Idlib. The Syrian Arab Army has also eliminated many Nusra terrorists and cut off their lines of supply from Turkey in a number of areas in Idlib countryside. A successful operation was moreover carried out in the city of Idlib, where a number of armed men were killed or wounded. The army also attacked terrorists' hideouts in the city's eastern and northern suburbs. Dozens of armed men have reportedly been eliminated in Binish, Saraqib, Al Salmu and Al Hamidiyeh villages. Lines of supplies from the Turkish side of the borders have also been destroyed in Kafr Jalis and Ma'arat Masrin, north of Idlib city. Terrorist hideouts have also been targeted in several villages west of the city, as well as in Ariha suburbs. Huge losses were meanwhile inflicted on terrorist gatherings 77 kilometers southwest of Idlib city. The Syrian Arab Army has also targeted terrorists in Inkhil and Samlin in Daraa countryside to the south of the country. ISIL terrorists in the surroundings of S.A.R oil well in Homs eastern suburb have also been killed. In Deir Zor, an ISIL terrorist vehicle loaded with weapons and ammunition has been destroyed near Al-Siyasiyah bridge at the northern entrance of the city, and the 5 terrorists inside have been killed. While in Deir Zor's suburb, the so-called Al-Husba Amir of ISIL was killed in a Salahiyah village, according to news media reports. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has underlined the importance of cooperation and coordination between Moscow and Beijing on international issues. He said Russia considers expanding such cooperation as a priority. Lavrov has been quoted as saying during a session of talks today with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Moscow that the basis of the current phase in developing the relations between the two countries is the joint statement made by the Russian and Chinese presidents on their strategic partnership. He pointed out that China is Russia's major partner, therefore the two countries should actively cooperate in the financial energy domains, he added. Deputy Foreign and Expatriates Minister Dr. Ayman Soussan has said that the French government's policy towards Syria is detrimental to the French interests and contravenes the values it alleges and harms France's reputation and position on the international arenas. During his meeting with a delegation of French tourists currently visiting Syria, Mr. Soussan said Syrian citizens have started to regard France as a partner in shedding Syrian blood. Dr. Soussan surveyed the developments in Syria and the aggression and terrorism it is being exposed to by international and regional sides. He affirmed the Syrian people's determination to fight terrorism and protect Syria's unity of land and people, as well as Syria's independent national decision. On their part, the members of the delegation expressed their sympathy and solidarity with the Syrian people against sectarian terrorism and their admiration for the Syrians' spirit of coexistence, which sets an example for tolerance and respect for the others. Some members of the delegation strongly criticized the French government's policy towards Syria and the campaigns, media falsifications and deception. They said they would convey to the French public opinion the reality of what they had seen and the need to change the French approach towards Syria. The second round of the Syrian opposition's inter-Syrian consultative meeting hosted by Moscow has continued for the second day to come out with a unified working paper ahead of the opposition's scheduled meeting with the Syrian Arab Republic's delegation tomorrow. The deliberations are being held behind closed doors with the supervision of the chairman of the Russian Orientalism Institute, Vitaly Naumkin. The agenda of the first day included an assessment of the current situation and a review of the prospects of alleviating the Syrian people's suffering and unifying Syrians' efforts to confront present dangers, including terrorism. Discussion also covered the basis of the political process according to the Geneva Statement of 2012 and the steps that the Syrian parties should take in order to realize political solution and proceed towards national reconciliation. In an interview with the Syrian satellite channel, Al-Ikhbariya TV channel, Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrullah has said that Syria is a key state independent in its decision and strategy and plays a very vital role in the region and the future of the region, of which cannot be outlined without it. Mr. Nasrullah said what is happening in the region is a political conflict to serve projects which often use religion for its objectives. He pointed out that the Saudi-American aggression in Yemen aims at undermining the country's infrastructure and destroying the Yemeni army because the United States, Israel and the coalition states do not want a strong army in this area which could one day threaten Israel or the American hegemony of the region. Nasrallah said solving the crisis in Syria would start when the Syrian opposition enjoys an independent decision to go into political dialogue. As part of a series of the destruction of the Iraqi archaeological sites and the targeting of Iraq's historical and cultural heritage, Daesh terrorists blew up the archaeological wall of Musel Castel, which dates back to more than 2,000 years. Meanwhile, Iraqi Air Force dealt a focused blow to the headquarters of the so-called the Air Defense Battalion of Daesh terrorists in Al-Qaim, west of Anbar province, killing 48 terrorists, including three of the leaders of the radical organization, and injuring 36 others, as well as destroying 7 of their vehicles and a lot of their weapons and ammunition. For the 13th day in a row, the Saudi-led aggression continued its airstrikes on different areas in Yemen, killing dozens of civilians and injuring many others, and also inflicting a huge destruction in the vital infrastructure as well as the services and economic facilities. More than 18 people, including students and 9 members of one family, were killed in a Saudi attack that targeted a school in Ab and a house in Sada Governorate. Al-Bayda Governorate was also the target of Saudi airstrikes that hit a camp for Brigade 117 and another camp for the Presidential Guards east of Ab Governorate, as well as the fuel tanks and several residential neighborhoods. As the Saudi coalition aircrafts continued to intensify their strikes on the capital Sana'a and several other cities in the country. The land border with Saudi Arabia witnessed intense strikes also. The Saudi aggression in Yemen killed about 900 people and displaced 15,000 citizens so far. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Now, the latest business and market news with Nariman, but after a short break.